J1 visa or H1b visa. Which one is better? Which one should you seek? And everything boils down to a very simple thing. J1 visa is the easiest visa, the more widely available for programs to give to applicants. H1B, it's a little more special, and if you have a chance to get your hands on, do it. But there are limitations to get this. Okay, so at the end of the day, whichever place takes you, you should go for it. Unless you have the you're in a position where you can say, oh, I don't want this program, so I'm going to wait for another year. So if that's your case, then go fight for the H1B visa. Otherwise, if you get an offer for a J1 visa, take it, because as immigrants applying to the match cycle, our opportunities are limited, and I wasn't in a position to risk it and wait for another year. I needed to start working. So I matched into a J1 visa sponsoring program. And the limitations for a J1 visa are, um, first, you cannot moonlight, you cannot work extra, or after the second year on residency, you can, like everyone, all the other residents are starting to look for moonlighting opportunities to work here and there in urgent cares, doctors' offices, to make extra income. If you're on a J1 visa, you cannot do that. If you're on a J1 visa and you fall in love with an American citizen and you want to get married, you cannot get married. And what else? You cannot buy a house, even if it's very smart as a financial move during residency to save, I don't know, $10,000, $20,000 and put it for a down payment for a small apartment or for a small condo and buy a house, start buying a house. You cannot do it under a J1 visa. If you buy a lottery ticket and you win, you cannot claim that ticket because you are not a lawful resident. You are just a visitor status. And the most important thing for the J1 visa is, after the end of 2 years, you have to return to your country for before you apply to another visa in the United States, and that is called the waiver time. Now, that's not really a limiting factor, because let's say you match into a fellowship program, your J1 is extended, and let's say you want to start working and you graduated into, I don't know, family practice, pediatrics, or internal medicine. Those are considered primary care careers. So you could enter the waiving process and apply through a waiver to work in what are called underserved areas in the United States, which are not necessarily rural areas. These are not necessarily cities that are, I don't know, deep in the desert, or deep in a very undesirable area. No. Like, for example, I live in Los Angeles, and Los Angeles is a very desirable area, known to be a rich state. And within this rich state, within the area of where I live in Pasadena, there are areas that are considered underserved areas. So a clinic that is offering a position for a primary care doctor in an underserved area has to sponsor you for the H1B visa. And it can be in this area, or it can be 1,000 miles away in the very undesirable, very secluded, deserty area. It depends at that time, it depends how much effort you put into researching the available J1 sponsoring visas, or the waiver visas sponsoring clinics that you find your match. And necessarily, it won't happen in the state that you desire, because the year that you're applying for this waiver, other people are applying. and there are only limited amount of waivers per state. For example, I was lucky to be one of the 30 people that get a waiver in California every year because I started researching for this waiver early, and my employer was very into getting me and paid and move people and pay expedite uh, processes, and so my process was done in time. And other people, when one state rejects your application, has to go to the next state and next state, and you may not end up working in the state that you desire to work, but it is what it is. And so if you get a J1 in the state that you weren't thinking that you will end up working, that's fine. It's just 3 years, and at the end of 3 years that you are on this waiver process, the clinic that you're working or the place that you're working will sponsor your green card. And after the green card, you can leave them and start working whenever you want, because now you are free, you have a green card. A different process starts. With the H1 visa, which I didn't have, but I was offered when I matched into my residency program in family medicine. The reason why I didn't get it is because to get the H1 visa, you do have to have the step 3 passed and completed, and they want that most programs want to see the step 3 result for the H1 visa. And it's not as available as the J1 is. And the benefits of the H1 visa are that you could work during residency for other employers. It's not limited to one employer like the J1 visa. Now, if you have an H1 visa, you could moonlight if you're allowed to during residency. There are limitations for that, but that's beyond the H1 visa status. You could buy a house, you could win a lottery ticket, you could get married if you fall in love with an American citizen, and that's what you guys are planning. And what else? You don't have to return to your country after you finish residency. And let's say you match into a fellowship, then you can renew your H1 visa, and after the end of 6 years, you are immediately considered for green card processing. So those are the benefits. I don't see many, to be honest, because if you, to be honest, if you get a J1 visa offer, just take it. Take it. I didn't have time. I didn't have time during residency to moonlight, and as I said before, I wasn't a great resident because I was trying to adjust to my program. So I really didn't have time to moonlight. And the ones that were moonlighting were tired all the time because they had to work at night, work very early in the morning, so they were always tired. And I do think that moonlighting may interfere with your training. So it's up to you. And buying a house, that's a great move, and I hope you could do it. I regret not buying a house during residency, but again, I wasn't able to do it. And then buying lottery tickets are not important. But if you do get a place that can sponsor an H1 visa, do your best to try to match in there. But if not, you just go for the J1 visa. It's very easy to go through the waiver process at the end of residency and start working. So that shouldn't be a limitation for you. So good luck. J1 visas are great. H1 visas are better, but it is what it is. Good luck.